do first is to prepare some ingredients, mostly because I can do this, you know, a few minutes ahead of time, take a break, come back and do the cooking in a half hour or so. And first of all, we're going to start off with a bunch of garlic. What I got there, some of them are pretty small. I got 4 big ones, 3 little ones, 1 more big one, and that will be enough. That is, we're going to mince the garlic fairly fine because this is going to be mixed in with the pasta and the shrimp. Okay, and now we set that aside. Our next ingredient is going to be fresh parsley, which we're going to chop finely. And that is a little bit less parsley than I would usually use, but as you can see, that's the end of our parsley. Okay, time to go back to work. Next step is we peel the shrimp. Because we don't live on the coast, we get frozen shrimp. This is about a can't remember how big the bags are, but we'll let you know. It's between 1 and 2 pounds, I believe. And we put them in cold tap water in a large bowl, and after about a half an hour they are thawed out and to the point where they can be where we can continue to prep them. Okay, those are the shrimp are done. Okay, the next step is going to be to get some water boiling for the pasta. And the shrimp scampi takes such a small amount of time to cook. You pretty much have to cook the linguine first. So we'll get that water going right now. And as my wife always reminds me, we'll put a lid on it because it will make it boil faster. The next step is going to be to start the sauce. And for that we're going to use some olive oil, and I never measure anything when I cook. But I think that's probably 4 tablespoons, I'm not sure. And some butter, and this is a pound butter, so it'd be 1/8 of a pound roughly of butter. And we melt the butter in the oil. And since we're out of real lemons today, we're going to use lemon juice instead. You typically take a juice of about half a lemon and add it later on, but we're going to substitute 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And when we were out looking for a pair of tongs a few months ago, we went to a kitchen supply place, and I found these, and they are made by a company called Edlund, E-D-L-U-N-D. They're stainless, they're very heavy. Well, for tongs, they're very heavy, particularly compared to the Chinese stuff. And they are made in the USA, so I bought these. They cost about 4 times as much as the Chinese product, but I'm sure they'll last 10 times as long, so I'm very happy with them so far. Okay, so that stuff's ready. It's melting. We toss in the garlic. And we want the garlic to not brown, but we want it to be in there and give up some of its flavor into the butter and oil mixture. Okay, next ingredient, and you can go one of two ways on this. I'm using chicken stock, but a lot of people make this dish with white wine. And at this point, we increase the heat to like a medium-high kind of heat, and add half a mason jar, which is I think about a cup of chicken broth, and we just let that come to a boil. When it reduces by about half, it'll be ready for the shrimp. But so we're just gonna let that go for a few minutes. Time to take a break. Okay, and special treat tonight, we're going to be making this with Tony's homemade linguine that she made a few days ago. I asked her to grab another package of the dried stuff, and she surprised me by pulling this out. I should have remembered that she'd made it, but it's great. It's going to be a very special dinner tonight. The other nice thing about the homemade linguine is it only takes about 2 minutes to cook. Okay, that water's at a rolling boil. So at this point, the pasta goes in. I pretty much have to stir this stuff immediately to keep it from sticking together in a clump. But that's looking pretty good right now. Okay, now we can start cooking the shrimp, and yeah, maybe it's halfway. Maybe it's not quite there, but close enough. Like, I never cook anything with precision. Just kind of, yeah, you kind of reduce it to about half. And I'm going to throw a bunch of the shrimp in now, probably about half of them. Mostly because I can't fit this many shrimp in this frying pan otherwise. Okay, and I just checked, the bag of shrimp was 500 grams, which is just over a pound. It's about 1.1 pounds roughly. A pound being 454 grams. So 1 pound or a little bit more than a pound of shrimp is about right for 2 people. And yes, we're just feeding two people with this tonight. And as soon as the shrimp change color, they're cooked. So we want to, and of course we don't want to overcook them, but okay, these guys get set aside because they're going to get served on top of the dishes. These shrimp are going to get mixed in with the linguine, which reminds me, the linguine is probably just about done. Let me just check it and see. Ow, ow, ow. Don't laugh, it's not funny.
I'm setting the table.
And I would give that about another half minute because it's almost done. So as soon as these shrimp come out and get turned over, I think we're going to have linguine getting drained. Now, before we put the linguine back in the pot, we put some olive oil in, and we're going to mix that up so that the linguine does not stick together. And of course, we didn't drain it because we don't want the sauce to stick to it as much as it will. Okay, good. That's done. These guys are done. And the only thing I forgot was the lemon juice, so that'll go in now. One, two, and that I do measure because I don't use lemon juice often enough to be able to know how many lugs over the bottle I'm going to need. I'm going to bring that back up to a simmer for a couple of minutes. And at this point we can add our salt and pepper. And the salt and pepper could have been added earlier. Now, for those of you who like spicy food, some red pepper flakes will work very nicely at this point, or actually when you're cooking it before you put the shrimp in. But since my wife does not like spicy food, I don't do that. Time to serve it.